The bearings are great, but we want grease in there. I see kangaroo. You see the kangaroo? He's a big boy too. Let's see if I can show you. I'm gonna scare him off if I'm not careful. There he goes. This is cheap and brushed. This is expensive and brushless. Mix them together and what do you get? You get the Rlaarlo XDKJ-006. It's the size of the 144001. It's the brushlessness of the EMB-T with some of the extra nice bits as well that you don't get on the 144001. Price-wise, this thing's a cheap and cheerful little banger. It's got a big longer wheelbase brother that kind of links it up to the same size as the EMB as well. So here's your cheap end of stuff. This guy is more than double the price of this thing and it's brushless. I've done a season of driving with this on this track just behind me. Love it, great car. This one's an interesting one. Apart from being a carbon fiber chassis, there is an alloy version available as well. But apart from being that and a castle colored motor, they both have combination receiver ESCs and the BEC. Lexan shell, but it's a lovely thick Lexan shell, much nicer than even on the Bandit, to be honest. This is a plastic, ABS plastic shell. It's probably gonna last longer. Get the Fly Sky Noble's ugly little brother. Here's what's in the bag. We've got a manual. There's a nice little foam bumper actually. Very slow USB charger. It's a balance charger though. We've got plenty of spares here. 2 sets of A-arms, like 2 sets, a spare dog bone and cup and a spare CVD joint and some spare wheel bits and pieces. You've still got the same ungreased diffs of the cheapies, not like these which are nice and plush. No foams in these little narrow wheels. Here's the thing. This is a cheapie, this is expensive, this kind of sits between the two. It's a short wheelbase and the manufacturers who sent this to me, thanks Rlaarlo, tell me that the 144001 bits can be put into this guy, the XDKJ-006. It needs a nickname. The brushless Rlaarlo. We'll call it the Rlaarlo. But it's about double the price of the 144001 and 60% of the price of the EMB-T from LC Racing. I can drive this all day and it just takes it. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to drive. If this thing can give us 60% of the fun and reliability of that thing, I think we've got a winner. A change of pace is like a little holiday. I do this hobby for fun. I share this hobby with you guys because you guys matter more than anything I've got here and I'm so glad to have you along. If we can have a change of pace and have a bit of fun at the same time, great, let's do it. I didn't pay for this thing. I'm happy to review it though. You're going to get the truth from me. It does feel cheap. It feels very much like this guy actually. We'll see what we think. Let's hit the track. Okay, I'm going to keep track of time. We've got a fully charged stock battery. Braking is really slow. So the first thing I don't like about this is the response is really sluggish. If I could get expo on this, I'd dial it right down. It feels like there's an expo curve on it, so that nothing happens for a little while when you pull the trigger. But then when you pull right back, it goes from a little bit to just crazy. And these tires aren't good enough to kind of cover for that, so you just start spinning. Noisy transmission. Ooh, okay, it's got good air authority. Lands like a cat as well. I like the balance. Walk of shame. Without a center diff, we've got 50% between front and rear, but it feels like the rear is getting a lot of the drive. I'd like to stiffen up that rear diff. It's spinning the wheels much too easily. It's actually quite hard to drive on this surface. It's very planted, I'll give it that. This has the same twitchiness that the 144001 suffers from. This is a question of tires and surface here. Oh, look at that, it lands on its feet a lot, that's good. Its wheelbase is so short on low traction surfaces like clay here, it's nearly impossible to drive. I'll also note that reverse has about 20% throttle. I'm getting used to the radio now and its individual feel. It's It's an uncomfortable radio in my hand, but I'm 6 foot. For whatever that's worth to you. Ooh, I'm keeping the speed down. It could go a lot faster, but it would be pointless on this surface. If we put the 144001 wheels and tires on, yeah, it jumps alright, eh? That could be a different story. Servo's plenty fast. It's responsive. I've got sufficient range for this little course here. That was about 90% throttle. This is a peppy, I'd say it's a peppy 50k an hour 2S runner. And it'll probably be comfortably doing 70 on 3S if you could get traction. On carpet, this thing would absolutely shine with these tires. They did say waterproof. Watering my car like any good driver. Doesn't seem to have bothered it. I would rather suspect if you went through puddles, the cooling fan wouldn't love you. There's a bit of cogging down low, but not much. That's not how you take care of a car. But I'm doing it because we want to know. Traction's not bad, honestly. Ooh. We're still on 2S, same battery. It brakes just fine. These open diffs are way too soft. They could do with some grease, honestly. It wheelies. Now these full throttle pulls that I'm doing will eat the battery real fast. But get this thing onto a car park and you're gonna have a ball of fun with it, no question. Yeah, I like that, that's good. Very stable. How's it do with bigger air? Oh, it's very stable. Okay, timer's back on. I'm gonna keep running this till the battery runs out and I'll let you know how long it goes, how long it lasted. I'm already having to pull quite a lot further on the throttle. Let's just adjust preload real quick. It is thankfully adjustable. It's absolutely filthy. So I'm just winding preload in. It'll help it sit up a bit higher, which is what it needs. It's still too fast though, so we need like maybe 45 weight. It's not a heavy car, so it doesn't need heavy oil, but 35 to 45, somewhere in there. The front's actually nice, I like the front. Rear's too bouncy. Yeah, battery's nearly had it. I can pretty much guarantee this battery is about 1400, give or take. Oh nice, crashes pretty well, honestly. The one saving grace for this thing is the 3200 kV motor. That's an absolute peach. One is the heavier oil in those rear shocks. Leave the front ones, they're fine. I'll put a little bit of preload on the rear just to pick it up, especially on bumpier terrain like this, and slightly heavier oil, again, if you're on bumpy terrain like this. On road or even carpet, I suspect these would be all right. You may just need to add some preload to pick the back up, because that's what your preload does. It increases your ride height. Lose the battery. The battery comes with sucks, unless mine's a bad unit. They're not good batteries. And the third thing you can do to make this thing better is stick some grease inside these diffs, because that is not good. Before you go, let me throw the EMB-T on the track real quick and let me show you the difference in handling, and that might help you decide whether you save your money and spend the extra 40% over the cost of this to get one of the EMB vehicles, because to my thinking, it could be worth it. If you want a cheap brushless thing and you're only using it on smoothish surfaces out of the box, it's not bad. Just remember, a lighter battery and it'll handle better again. It does handle well in the air, it does have good air authority, even with these cheap, nasty little wheels and tires. I'd say it's a definite maybe. See what you think. All right, this is the EMB-T. This is the competition. Oh, it's nice. Now, this is also a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, motor. Remembering that the little guy we were just playing with, it's a 32. It just floats, And the other thing is I'm barely touching the throttle and it already takes off like a rocket. That's how the throttle should have been. The Rlaarlo machine is really let down by that radio system. So this is what it comes down to. Did the Rlaarlo buggy satisfy 60% of the EMB-T in fun? When I got it onto the sealed road, yeah, actually it did. These tires and the wheelbase was not a problem on sealed road. And I think if you're playing around in car parks, concrete, anything like that, this is probably going to be a very satisfying and fun machine to own. If you're on a carpet track, this thing flies. It's so nicely balanced. Even with that silly battery, sorry Rlaarlo, but that battery sucks. Maybe mine's damaged, I don't know. Put a 1500 milliamp hour 2S in it and it'll be happy days for flight time with this thing. It's honestly a nice platform. However, if you're on rocky terrain like my place here, I've got clay, there are rocks and stuff like that. The EMB-T, for truggy especially, this thing soaks up the bumps in a way that this just can't do. I think it comes down partly to the wheelbase, partly to the suspension, partly to the tires. You see there's quite a difference in width, but also these things have foams in them. This is definitely more flexible all round, but I just took this out for a quick blat on a sealed road, which I've never done before. Pin tires and all, it kind of hurts to do that. They were comparable. On hard even terrain, the Rlaarlo could just be a winner for you. Links in the description, check it out. There's a code as well. Absolutely consider it. If you're on bumpier stuff though, I've got to say the EMB wins. Sorry Rlaarlo, not you in this case. It's a possible, it's a definite, but it's a lot cheaper. I'll leave the choice to you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT.